Yes, mates, how's it going? My name's Lee, and welcome back to the FPL Punk YouTube channel, where we try to dominate FPL one game week at a time. So today we'll talk from a game week 14 team selection and try to highlight potential issues and try to suggest possible transfers. If you enjoy FPL, please subscribe to the channel. Anyway, let's rock and roll.
Be strong.
Right, mates, first up in the bottom right hand corner, we've got some team information. My rank is 680k, small green arrow from last week. Team value 104 million exactly. Nothing in the bank, 2 free transfers. So first up, we've got the goalkeeper and the defence. I've opted for Areola in goal. Matt Turner lost his place, unfortunately. Areola, West Ham at home to Palace. I think it's a decent fixture. And he did get some save points last week and got 3 points. Just not really working out, is it? Like I just don't think it's worth making a transfer at this point. I see some people wildcarding right now. I would get Areola, but as my backup goalkeeper, and I'm looking at someone like, I wouldn't even mind Kelleher from Liverpool if it was Alisson's going to be out long term. I don't even mind Bob Sanchez from Chelsea with a decent run of fixtures from now until then. So I don't mind somebody like that, but unfortunately I don't want to make a transfer in the goalkeeper slot, so I'm stuck with Areola and Matt Turner until I can get that excess transfer. It's not like it's going to come out anytime soon, but you never know. In terms of West Ham versus Palace, I think West Ham have got a decent chance. I think it's going to be quite a tight game. I know Palace are missing a couple key players now, and this might be quite a tough game for Palace. I'm never optimistic of a clean sheet really, so it's just one of those seasons where clean sheets are so hard to come by. If I can get anything, I'll be really happy with it, but I can see this game being 1-1, and both Mark Gahey and Areola's clean sheet get wiped out as a result. Moving on to Mark Gahey, he hit the woodwork in the last minute of the last game. Real unlucky. It's one of those, like if that goes in, like he comes in with like an absolute decent haul, like fair play, but one of those like he doesn't, and he gets like a 1 or 2 pointer. Good player. Like I'm glad I picked him. Hasn't worked out 100%. That's just one of those. Unfortunately, like sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Tough fixture away to West Ham. Like it's always a tough game. I think both teams will score, like I said, and I just don't see it being a good game for either team. I think it's going to be quite a dull game. Not like neither team really want the ball, except the Palace defenders just seem to pass it between themselves. So Anderson and Mark Gahey get like 150 passes a game, every single game. I think it's going to be quite a dull one, and yeah, I'm not optimistic of a clean sheet, unfortunately. I've just got nobody else, and I don't really want to make a transfer there right now because there's just some more pressing matters that I might need to attend to, unfortunately. Moving on to Ben White, looking like not a great pick right now. Went from a couple of weeks ago. Saliba's about 14 points ahead of him right now. He obviously came off the bench and played about 20 minutes. I think it's really good for White to get those minutes in his legs. I'm more optimistic that he's going to start this game than I was the last game. I was probably more 70-80%. I think he's probably closer to 90 now. Hopefully we get some information from the Champions League fixtures that he comes on and plays some part, whether he starts or not. If there was any doubt that White was going to be out, I would just transfer him out, and whether that was for a hit or use one of my free transfers. I've just got some already pre-planned transfers that I kind of want to stick to, and I'll show you those at the end of the video of some transfers that I am thinking about. But great fixture for Arsenal. Wolves are in decent form, like they're playing some good stuff, and there's a lot of injustice around Wolves and refereeing decisions right now. I could see Wolves getting quite a big decision in this game as a result of kind of about the backlash for that. That's the way decisions tend to work. They even themselves out, or generally they tend to even themselves out. I think it's going to be quite a tough game for both teams, but I think Arsenal will slightly edge ahead, and I'm relatively hopeful of a clean sheet. Hoping as opposed to being optimistic about it, but if Ben White plays, happy days. Hopefully he just plays 60-65 minutes, banks the clean sheet. Then when he comes off, they concede, happy days. Trippier, absolute monster. Like, I know they conceded like in the last game, but smashed Chelsea 4-1. Newcastle are such a force at home. Like, they're such a good team at home. As I've said all along, like they're a different team at home. Like same with Villa, they're just something different. Like when they're at the home ground, I think it'd be a really, really tough game for Man United. I know we beat Everton 3-0. I think if Garnacho doesn't score the absolute like wonder goal, we struggle in that game and probably win 1-0. I think this would be a really tough game. I think they'll beat us, but I think we'll score. I think they'll beat us 2-1. I get 1-1, 2-1, something like that. I think Newcastle will edge it. just really difficult at home, and I just don't think we can get anything out of them, to be honest with you. Like, really solid, really compact. The only thing that they're kind of missing are those, they're missing a couple of key players. Obviously, they've still got Lascelles playing at the back. I think Lascelles is playing okay, to be fair to him. But they're obviously missing Botman. I think once Botman comes back, they become a much stronger and more dependable defensive unit. Really happy with my Trippier pick. Really glad I went for him when I got for him. Is very much a long-term hold. These two fixtures haven't put me off, and they've got a nice run after this point. So if you want Trippier and you haven't got him yet, I would hold off this week and maybe consider him for next week, where they do go on a nice run once again. But what a player, what a team. Next up, we've got the midfield on first, Anthony Gordon. What a boy, 13 points out of that all day long. When we played Newcastle in the Cup, Anthony Gordon was just so sharp, and as soon as I saw him in that game, I thought, I think he's turned a corner. I think there's a player in there, and I think he's been exceptional this year. How he's not got an England call up, I will never know. I think he's been top quality, and I think he'll cause us a lot of problems, to be honest with you. If he plays left wing, I would 100% play Wan-Bissaka against him and just try and shut him down as best as we can. Really sharp on the half turn, likes to drift inside, gets shots away, gets crosses away. Absolutely rapid. I think it'll cause some problems. Same with the Chelsea game. It's a bit of a kind of, he can do what he can do, and if he doesn't return, it's one of those. It doesn't really matter. It's like a small punt. I'm gonna play him anyway. And then after this point, they've got a nice little run of games, especially now that that Barnes is out. As long as Barnes out, Anthony Gordon's going to play 100%. So I have no concerns about his minutes right now. I'm just going to keep monitoring the Barnes situation, and as soon as Barnes looks like he's going to be fit, maybe start thinking about moving Gordon on. It's not something I need to think about right now, and we can kind of focus on future transfers in terms of Gordon anyway. Onto Jared Bowen, and he's still flagged, didn't play at all in last game. We obviously get the Europa League fixtures coming out, and hopefully we get some information. If he starts, I might just have to keep him and try and figure something else out in terms of transfers. But he will be a problem for me if he doesn't start. He's a good player. I think it's a decent fixture for Bowen. I don't think it's a great fixture. I just think it's decent. And if he does play, I think he'll cause Palace quite a lot of problems, like he's caused a lot of teams problems. I don't love him as a number 9. I still prefer him as a wide right, drifting inside. I don't think he can play with his back to goal that well, but obviously, like, he's quick, he's got a decent shot on him, like, he's a good finisher. Surprisingly good in the air, actually, considering he's about 4'2". So hopefully we get some information on him. If he doesn't play midweek in the Europa League, I'd be pretty close and tempted to actually transfer him out ASAP and just get him gone. Like, I don't think I can take that risk 2 weeks in a row when I have like a very, very poor bench. You can see on the left hand side, Archer, Taylor, and Kabore are just really, really poor. But could there be consideration that I could play Taylor this week at home to Sheffield United? Maybe. Maybe Taylor should be my first sub just in case. I don't think that would be the worst option in the world. But yeah, I'm just hoping we get some Jared Bowen news. And if he is, like, I'm looking at the likes of downgrading right down somebody like a Palmer. I could make a sideways move to something like a Kudos. There's some other good players in and around the league as well, which I can kind of touch on throughout the video. Moving on to Heung-min Son, away to Man City. Now on paper it's a really tough fixture, but we all know what Son has done in the past against Man City. I'm just not convinced by that Spurs team and that Spurs defence. They've gone ahead in the last few games and then conceded 2 and eventually lost the game. This might be more of the same. This might be an early goal for Son, and then they get pinned back, and City will just slowly overturn the game and actually beat Spurs in the end. But I don't think it's the worst fixture in the world for Son. He likes to play on the break. He likes to have space in behind. He'll have both of those against Man City, and if he can cause them some problems, happy days. The thing is with Son and Spurs, they've got a better run of games after this point. I think and if you do sell Son, it's going to be very difficult to get back to him. Like, what's he valued at now? 9.7, 9.8. Like, if you sell him, like, you're going to sell him for like 9.3, 9.4. It's going to be really tough to get back to Son. In my opinion, it'd be better to hold somebody like him and wait for someone like Salah to go to the African Cup of Nations and free up that money instead, as opposed to downgrading someone like Son, which is probably what I'm more thinking around doing, as opposed to selling someone like Son. Good fixture for him, good finisher. He could have easily scored a hat-trick on the weekend. Like don't let his blank kind of cloud your judgment at all. He had a pretty good game, and if he timed his run probably a millisecond before, he gets at least one goal and he gets some returns in that game. one of those doesn't work out that well, and just have a bit of patience with him would be my main thing. Have patience. He'll return at some point. He's playing number 9 for one of the best teams, or one of the upper teams in the league. At some point, he's going to score. Trust the process. Trust your gut. If you want to sell him, sell him. I'm trusting my gut. I think he's the right pick. I'm just going to wait it out, be patient, stick with the main man, Sonny. On to Brian and Boomo, and I know I went a week early last week when he's playing Arsenal. Probably was a little bit premature, but otherwise I would have been burning a transfer. It's a transfer I wanted to do this week anyway. So getting that in a week earlier, I transferred him out for Diaby. Diaby got no points as well, so it was pretty much like for like. And now I've got Mbeumo in with his nice run of games. He's got a nice run of about 3 or 4 games. Luton at home, prime fixture. This is prime Mbeumo fixture, this. They concede a lot of goals from that middle right area of the pitch where he likes to cut in onto his left foot. Still on penalties. They've not had a penalty for a while. I think we're due a penalty, boys. I think we're due one, so let's have one. Let's smash it. And Mbeumo, if you haven't got him, he'd probably be one of my upper transfer picks if you don't have him. I think his ownership's going to go through the roof over this week. I can see his price going up to 7.1. That's like very, very soon. I think he's already up to 7 right now, and I think by the end of the weekend he's already going to be at 7.1. So I don't want to say essential, but he's hitting that point where they've got such a good run of games. Ownership's going to be through the roof. Seriously consider Mbeumo if you haven't got him at all. Salah, main man Salah, home to Fulham. Pretty good captaincy option here. Fulham are pretty open. They concede a lot of XG, concede a lot of chances, concede a lot of shots. This could be a good fixture for Salah. I'm just not 100% convinced about Liverpool style play, and I trust Salah to tick along, but not get those mega hauls on a consistent basis. But it's one of those where if he's not playing well and still scoring points, when he does play well, he's just going to go absolutely mad. And this could be one of those games where he does go mad. I think it's a really good fixture for him, to be honest, up against Anthony Robinson. Robinson's quick and he's a decent defender, and I think Fulham will play okay in this game. I don't think they could see too many goals. That's probably the reason why I'd probably have Salah as my second captain pick, as opposed to number 1 as up against Haaland, where I think Fulham will play okay. Like they've played pretty well in the last few games. They obviously got the last minute win against Wolves from 1-3-2. They're obviously they're conceding 2 goals against Wolves, and all due respect to Wolves, they're not the Man City Liverpool standard. So if you want to take a mini differential punt on captaincy, I don't hate going for someone like Salah at all. Onto the forwards and captaincy. As you can see, I've got Haaland as captain right now. I think he's the best choice up against Spurs. Spurs have obviously got a weakened defensive, particularly central area. And last week they played Ben Davies and Emerson. Imagine Haaland up against Ben Davies and Emerson. Just let that soak in for 2 minutes, and let's just focus and have a little think about how Haaland would cope against those 2 centre-backs. He'd rip them apart, mate. Haaland's at home. That's the reason why he's captain. He's going to be up against defenders that aren't naturally defenders. And whether Ange wants to revert back and go to someone like a Dyer and Højbjerg as centre-backs, people seem to think that he won't, and he'll continue with Ben Davies and Emerson. I think he needs to bring someone like Dyer in, as who's a natural centre-back and can actually impose himself physically against Haaland, or at least try to impose himself physically. I think it's just a really good fixture for Haaland, to be honest with you. And if you aren't captaining him, I think his ownership and his effective ownership is going to be through the roof. So do keep that in mind. Salah is a very close second, but I am going to opt for Haaland. Watkins away to Bournemouth. Bournemouth have played pretty well the last couple of games, but this is a pretty good game for Watkins. I know it's away from home. Villa aren't as good away from home, but Watkins is just slowly ticking away. He's a 90-minute man. He just seems to pitch away with assists and goals every couple of weeks. He's probably pretty much a long-term hold for me. I'm not super confident of him getting any returns in this game. I think it'll be quite a tough game for Villa. But if they can get anything, a lot of it does go through Watkins, and hopefully he can come back with some returns. Up next, we're going to move on to some transfer plans for game week 14. So if you do have any transfer ideas, leave them down below in the comments, and let's have a little chat and see who you think I should transfer in and out. Right, mates, this is my main transfer idea for game week 14. On the left, we've got the 2 players that I want to transfer out, and on the right, we've got the 2 players that I want to transfer in. Doing these transfers would leave me 0.5 in the bank, so happy days about that, but it all revolves around Jared Bowen's injury status. and I could go Jared Bowen down to someone like a Cole Palmer. I would bench Palmer this week, assuming that I do Kabore to Saliba. Now, Saliba could easily be someone like Simicast there and give me more in the bank. I just like having that double Arsenal defence. They're the best defence in the league. I've obviously got Ben White. If there was any injury news to do with Ben White, I'd potentially take a hit and go Ben White to Simicast. So I've got all 3 players there anyway of players that I do want, but it does revolve around Jared Bowen. Jared Bowen was fit. I'm not sure what I would do. I'd have to think about a couple of things, but essentially what these transfers allow me to do is they allow me to field a strong team in game week 18 when there's that blank for Man City and Brentford. So Haaland and Mbeumo will both miss out. But if I don't make these transfers, I'm forced to play Kabore and Taylor. Whereas with this, it gives me Palmer and Saliba to come into that team and just strengthen up all round. Palmer is just such a good first option sub that I feel like I need to bring him in. With Chelsea's great run of games, and I think he's going to keep playing, potentially still on penalties, that it just seems like a no-brainer to me right now. Even if Jared Bowen is fit, I would still be tempted to do this move. What do you think about this current transfer idea? Leave a comment down below. Let me know if you think I should do it or if I shouldn't do it, and leave a reason why. That's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. So today went from my game week 14 team selection, looked at a few different things that we've tried to highlight as potential issues, tried to suggest possible transfers, and then looked at my main transfer idea, my main transfer plan for game week 14. If you enjoyed today's video, please subscribe to the channel, please leave a like, please leave a comment, all the usual type of jazz. Anyway, have a good day, peace and love.